For my presentation, I'll start you off with just a short like compilation of videos, and then I'll explain what the project is about. So my name is Nika Ham, as you can read now. That is my actual last name. It's not an artistic name, but I love it. So my project that you saw in the beginning is called Dance with Bantam. So this is a project that first started at my workplace in Moderna Galleria. So that's where the footage came from. And basically, I was there all the time, always working. And also in the evenings, I had to lock up. So I was the last one there. And I was very bored. So basically, I started doing this out of boredom because I also had there at the reception the screens to the surveillance cameras, and I kind of learned and figured out how to get the footage off of those cameras. It was actually a bit too easy. So I started just filming that out of boredom and sending it to my friends to just have a laugh. And when this came, like a lot of videos came together, I actually started seeing this as an actual project. Oh, and my background is actually painting. So before that, I was doing mainly painting, and this was my first glimpse into performance art. And I also work with video. This is something I taught myself. So I combined these new interests and started this project called Dance with Bantam. So the name comes from Bantam was the he was the founder of the principle, which is about being observed. So he did a research on at the oh my God, where people are prison. So he designed this tower that was the round tower where the watchguard was. So even the inmates, when they did not know they were watched, like they never knew. So that's why they constantly had to behave the right way. So this is, of course, based for the new way of being observed, which is surveillance cameras. I mean, there are also tracking, phone, but surveillance cameras I started to love because of this like retro aesthetic. And here we had like very old cameras, so very poor quality, and I loved it. And instead of hiding myself from those cameras, I performed for them. So basically, I was performing for somebody from the security firm who might or not be observing, but in the end, I could also take this footage myself. This of course got me thinking also about the difference between free time and work time, and especially in the art world and in the self-employed world, where we basically always work. So even our free time in the end is work, because when we don't work, we think about art, but that again is working because we're constantly thinking. But I take that as a privilege on my side. I can constantly have fun and maybe make a living out of it somehow as well. So I started this project in Moderna Galleria, but I wanted to continue this across other museums, which was, of course, a bit harder. Um, okay. So yeah, these are just the screenshots for the videos you also seen. Yeah, it's I my favorite technique is definitely the stop motion. So just moving myself and taking the pictures because it's this retro effect, and yeah, I just love those clips, and they're perfect for social media and everything, which is also one of the bases for this project, that it's shared with the wider audience via social media networks. So back into public hands, basically, what is not. I also did a collaboration with a musician, with some violin artist from New York, and we did also a music video for her based on these surveillance footages I had. And the next one was then in Albertina Museum in Vienna. So it was, of course, quite different than in Moderna Galleria because I had to ask for permission. I had to wait. Somebody had to watch me while I was doing this, so everything was safe. I didn't get the option to check the footage, I mean, the placement of the cameras, like the what's filming prior. So I kind of went with it, but I always knew exactly how they should be placed in accordance to the law of the basically how the museums are equipped with surveillance cameras that is on every exit, and of course it's in the corner, so it always covers the right ground. And I did a lot of research on that. So here we had the Keith Haring exhibition at that time. So basically, I had very little time. So here I had like 1.5 hour slot before the opening time. So I had to do it really fast. And I just dressed in the first screenshot. You see, I'm dressed as this anonymous character. So basically, I just wanted to repeat the poses from Keith Haring's painting. So my performances always work with either the physical space, so the exhibition space, or the paintings around it, or whatever speaks to me. So here I obviously decided Keith Haring, famous stick figures. And I just made myself anonymous. I put a gas mask on because it was a good shield. It has no deeper context than that, either more performative and theatrical. And then I just wanted to do one where I was just all in black with this black gas mask, actually bought in Berlin. And I just moved across the space. So I just had like this contrast of white and black. But yeah, the first one I take it as the piece from Albertina that was that I like most. Then I went to Salzburg, so I had the option of, I mean, agreeing on getting permission to film at Salzburg Museum, which is a completely traditional museum, so like paintings and everything. And Salzburg, it always rains, and when I was there, it always rained. So I kind of influenced that, and I had three colored raincoats. So this was my favorite video that came. I was just doing repetitive dance moves, like the famous one, like the Macarena or this, and I just moved across this traditional exhibitional space in this pink raincoat with my shades on and dancing at 6 in the morning, actually, or no, it was actually 8, but this hour is one ahead, but very early for rave dancing. And here I also collaborated with my friend from England, also a musician, who also did a track for this video. So I always like to combine it with some sounds, either actual music or just some my own editation of sounds. So this was done in Berlin in 2019. It was in the Urban Nation Museum. So I had a residency at the Urban Nation, and I did then this project with the surveillance cameras in their museums on Bülowstraße. So I did a series of clips of these stop motion animations, but the main project there was to work on a music video for a Berlin-based artist, also musician, and this was his actual then music video. He also commissioned it, distributed it, everything. So this was my first take working with more people, because this was not just me. This was me and 3 other people doing the stop motion animation technique, and I had to guide them through it. So it was very fun, but quite hard work. So because this museum thing always takes time, and the laws are getting harder and harder on getting surveillance footage, it's I started thinking, what can I do in between? I can't just like constantly be emailing and dear sir or madam, la 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 la. This was 90% of the work that actually went into this project. So I have a eye for surveillance cameras and everything all around me because I constantly observe that. And of course, the famous BVG system in Berlin got to me many times. And I love the fact that on a lot of the stations, the monitors were visible. So I of course asked for if I can get this footage, the actual footage. Of course not, because it's in a public area. A lot of people are involved. Da, 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 da. It was not doable. So, but what I could do is ask my friend to just film the monitor screens. And again, I got this bad video footage quality that I just love. I mean, it just becomes so sublime in a way, this trapped in time. And I decided to do a choreography across Berlin. So I chose a few dance moves, I think six or seven. Um, and I just did like the repeats, like very simple, like doing this. I'll show you the footage later, or just like turning in circles. And I just edited in a like constant, infinite loop across, dance loop across Berlin. And this I also later continued in New York. So on the subway system, and again, I asked my friend, she filmed it, but I chose five different moves. Um, so, because the some venues also didn't have surveillance cameras, some galleries and everything, I decided what would be a good way to still be able to do this. And I got a 360 GoPro camera, and I can just install it. I mean, it's basically me installing my own observational system, which I find kind of comical in a way, but I mean, I really do enjoy it, and I mean, at least I get to produce more. I mean, besides, we're constantly being observed by ourselves the most, so why not? And this 360 footage is also amazing because it just distorts the video if you want it, or makes this animation. There are so many new technological options for that. And here I decided to keep this distorted 360 picture because this gallery had a huge, like it was like 10-meter high ceiling. It was super surreal. So, and with just this tiny square space and completely empty when I arrived. So, yeah, I just loved it, and we agreed to do this here. And the other one was here because the restriction laws were so bad. I also had to install my own camera. We're in Museum of Contemporary Art in Zagreb. But here was my first take on live performance. So I did this with a live audience, and also filmed it. And also while the audience was not here, some different projects. I always do a lot when I can. And here I just decided to bring a child's motorbike and just drive it across this line for half an hour and say nothing and just play stupid music behind it. Because what I love to do in museums and these public spaces is do everything I'm not supposed to do. So especially in museums, because I'm a museum worker, I know what's not supposed to be done. I mean, I filmed myself riding a chair in the exhibition, pretending to destroy objects and everything that's whoa, out of order, or dance, or lie on the floor and be dragged, and always be a child, to play, to have fun. So in the end, I want my videos to echo that. So to be fun, and I always distribute these short segments on social media channel. Because the first initial idea is, especially with this surveillance thing, is this is always trapped in the system. It's deleted usually after 2 weeks, if not, the footage is not needed, and it's out of the public domain forever, although it contains the public information. So in this way, I can share it back to the public. And of course, to get most engagements in social media, you have to be short, you have to be funny. So I also follow these like guidelines how to come close to this new audience because we have such a short attention span. We need to be grabbed right away. That's why the stop motion technique works the best with people. But this whole project is, of course, also, oh yeah, and another live performance was again done in 221 in Urban Nation back in Berlin. And yeah, the idea with this project is to continue it into this abandoned public spaces. So either old factories. This one is actually Mal's Fabrik in Berlin. I got to view it, and it's the creepiest, coolest space on the planet. So here just a glimpse of it. And also to develop this, because I am a painter originally, back into this like visual, like this drawing context. So to develop my own dance notation, so a few moves, and to just make the symbols for it. And this is the choreography I would repeat. I am not a dancer, but I love to dance. So this is this repetitiveness that we're basically constantly around. Either it's the same ads or they're the same whatever. And basically, I added this also in this loopy way because yeah, it's also quite fun in this very serious and tragic world we live in at the moment. So yeah, I'll finish this presentation with that, and I'll just show a few more videos. Let's see, what can we do? Yeah, okay. We can go. So this one is the Albertina one, and I'll just go quickly through it because I know we don't have much time, but just to
Yeah,
see
like
how it looked.
around like 2 minutes if we can spend on the videos.
And the next one. Okay, this one is me with music, so I'll just go quick. Oh man, it's loud. So this one's super funny, and I love it that this was at 8 in the morning.
I think the noise is not coming from the video, but it doesn't matter.
Oh no. Okay. So yeah, this is just to see how I had to work with other people as well here. This is the Urbanation one. This is the BVG in Berlin. So this is just the one repetitive move, and then I just edit it in a constant infinite loop across different stations. And I always fast forward the video because it's much more fun. So yeah, this is just footage from this cat house proper in New York. I just dragged myself on the floor in this empty space, but I wanted you to see the footage. This was also in New York at Residency Unlimited, which is like an abandoned church where they have offices. And I just did a constant like loop. And yeah, this is the MSU Museum of Contemporary Art in Zagreb. So just fast forward to see how I followed the line like a child. And this is actually a children's pink motorbike Barbie or something. I loved it. What do you have here? So yeah, this is the actual music video. It's also available online, Treacher music video. So this is the musician, and this was a lot of work. So yeah, and this is also one thing I wanted to share. Can you hear or not?
We can hear you. The sound.
Okay. These are just the sounds I recorded from New York.
Wait.
And
wait. We don't hear anything from sound. I think when you're.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're setting, there's a button about sound.
Okay. Never mind then. In any case, I just wanted to just share this like glimpse of trashy sounds in the back because that's something I also am I want to include in my video. So because I'm not a video editor or whatever, I mean a music editor or music composer or whatever, but I can edit videos and I can do the same with sound. So to dissect the sounds the same way as I do the videos, because yeah, I want to learn everything, but there unfortunately is not enough time to do that. But yeah, I will conclude my presentation with this, and thank you. And if any questions, please.
what is the typical response when you're approaching the museums or the spaces when you say I'm gonna do this? What do they get, or what do you do to promise that they're gonna receive?
Uh, Basically, usually I get no response. That's the most common one. But I know everything they want to know, I think 5 steps in advance, so I send them the full package. I check the laws, then I provide them the exact schedule, how it is. I can come before or after opening times. There are no people involved, only me, alone in the space, somebody observing me. I have to pay for somebody to watch over me this extra time, I can also do that. So I basically give them everything on a platter. I don't think there is a single thing I ever not answered. I also always propose you write up a contract or some agreement that everything will be fine. I can provide anything else. And I also always take confirmation letters from the museums and everything I already did. So I always have this package. So yeah, Nika Ham did this. This is an art project. This is like no artworks were harmed. So everything the museum needs to hear to be reassured.
Yeah, but I mean, what I wanted in a way to, what I was meant is like, what do they get in the way is like they get exposure also.
Yeah.
Right.
No, usually,
or they are say, yeah, we always wanted to. I don't know. Like this is a kind of.
I get
like
what
make
you mean.
the space more likable, or
I think it's they get the most out of being more open to other artists' proposal, especially because this doesn't involve their program directly. It's just something you can agree on if you get the right ear to listen to. So I always say that I would definitely what I can do from my side, because I am not definitely rich that I would pay them or whatever, is to always tag them, promote them, anything on my channels. And of course, they can always use this footage as they please on their own or as whatever. I always offer like what I can agree on because they are doing me a favor. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Hi, thanks for your presentation. So I'm curious about what the common reaction is when you show these clips. Like, I thought they were like really funny. Like, I wanted to kind of like laugh, but it felt inappropriate.
No, that's the perfect response, and that is the one I always want. Yeah, it's basically to laugh because it's making an ass out of myself in a way. I mean, I have to laugh at myself first. So if I get this response, I am the happiest because over-contextualizing it can put this unnecessary burden on it, because this is also, of course, could be viewed as an artist trapped in an institution. And, in this sort of way, which everything, this is an institutional critique also, but it's meant to be a more light showcasing of it, especially in this, I mean, all we get is bad news. And this is a way to stimulate conversation in a light way, to also approach these questions to people who have no idea what contemporary art is about. So if a child laughs and he sees only what he sees, that's my success. And also, I mean, this is what you see. You can also just get that understanding from that. You don't have to put anything else over it. It can be just a funny clip on social media, or it can have like a bigger impact on like telling about a young artist way of basically behaving now, because we are our own brand. We have to sell ourselves. We have to put ourselves in the museums and online, and it doesn't matter how good your work is. You have to be the nice presence that also talks to people and approaches people and does interviews and comments, and it's a lot to basically take. And I kind of drifted with that now, but yeah, I hope I didn't go overboard.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to?
Yeah, thank you. You pretty much answered my questions, because I was wondering about the motivation, because at the beginning you mentioned it was a boredom, but I mean, that was ages ago, so now it has changed a little bit. So, but you keep going in that, and the motivation more or less. And then I just wondered for the future how you're planning to change that, because you did some of the, like in Berlin in the subway, but I mean you cannot get the footage in official way. So would you like to stay in this like underground kind of a thing that you're taking footage of a footage, or
I always try to get the original footage, always, and I will continue to do so because I still, of course, the actual footage with the actual, I mean, that's the gold ticket. But in between, I can work with that because this is also a good, I mean, I can later repeat the same thing with the actual surveillance, but here I had a very good testing round, but I never let something that I cannot yet get stop me from trying it. So the best way for me to work with this is to continue work with this, and the more venues I visit, the more footage I get, the more permission I get, the easier it gets to also get others to approve this project. Because I mean, every time people say, "Oh, Albertina confirmed this," "Oh, wow, yes, you're a very important museum, so it must be good." That's how I got Salzburg. And you know, it's like it's a cruel world, but yeah, of course, it's everything on what's on the paper and who gets to read it and who's important. But you can have like a very good laugh with this as well if you know the key. But basically, I do my own work, but I just need to find the right way to get to the right person because I don't have those connections. I mean, I always get my own connections. I work for everything. So I continue to do so, and I document the process in between.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone question? Okay, we have more.
I have a political question actually, and
Okay.
it's about the role of museums in general, because there are these huge spaces, and as your performances show, they're empty for a long time during like those 24 hours we have. So do you also think they should open up in a way, and if yes, how could they do so?
Well, open up. I mean, I think museums are quite trying very hard to open up to this new, basically new society because they also have to make exhibitions that are more intriguing to people, more interactive, everything. But I think I mean, from where my point of also working and everything, because I was in Moderna Galleria, Museum of Modern Art in Ljubljana for about 7 years, different positions all the time. But I see, especially in my country, the main problem was lack of funding and also lack of motivation in the end from the people who worked in those museums. Because they were just, okay, I have to do my 8-hour shift, and it's never a bit more if needed. And I come from this freelancer, self-employed waters, which means I finish the job until it's done and when it's done right. And this is a completely different mentality. So I think this is the first thing that needs to change in order for museums to actually open up to people more, because they don't have the right people. They actually don't have enough funds. I mean, I'm coming from Slovenia mostly now because this is something I saw with my own eyes and also felt it in the cultural department. But you know, when you want to do something, but basically you have to invest money into it, and you get nothing from the government. I mean, it's impossible, and I do feel very hard for this public sector because it's not easy, but it's quite, there's a lot of problems here. So I don't think it's so easy to say that the museum should just open up and everything would function, because then they would also have to get money some other way, either to charge more commission to people that would also again not be okay because it's a public museum, so nobody will be happy immediately. But maybe the best way to start would be take use of the internet, because this is the way most people communicate now. And this is something you can do very low budget, but just hire one motivated person and it's gonna get done. This is just all it takes.
Okay.
This would be my...
So let's go to one last question. Do you have afterwards? Well, okay, 2 questions, and then we have to move forward.
Okay, I have a quick question. It's just like, how does the copyright works? Because you have one and they have, and how does that work? And also, how do you present in the gallery? Are you presenting in the gallery space, and then they have surveillance too? So how does that work?
Yeah, basically, I mean, I always again did the research on the ownage and everything of the surveillance footage, and basically the footage is owned by the museum and supplied by the security firm they have. So we just write up an agreement. I mean, usually it's not even that serious. Everyone's like, yeah, just it's fine, just use it, you know. But we always have like some, either it's in an email, like I always want them to confirm this, that I can use this footage. But normally we just have this agreement that everything states, and just that I will not damage anything, and that they own the footage, I mean, that they can use the footage, and I can use it, and I am actually the owner in the end. I mean, because this is the art piece. And the presentation is very important to me in the end, because I never displayed these works as like one monitor or one projector and that's it. I always do I work with the space, the same as I do with the performances I'm doing. So either I use, I don't know, 2 projectors and intertwine them, so it's like a separate, like I mean, like a distorted image, or I use like, I don't know, 12 old surveillance monitors just like scattered across the floor. It really depends on what the space is where I'm exhibiting, so it always changes. And if I had music or not. So yeah, this is also like I'm like testing every time, but I always have to see the space to know what would work best and do a lot of testing. So yeah.
So one more, right? Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the security camera footage, because of course it has its own charm, and also like capturing the video of the monitor has its own charm as well. But if you get the permission and they allow you to install your own cameras in those spots, do you think it would be better, like having, I don't know, 4K 60 footage of the performance, or do you think it would be bad because it would lose its stylization, right?
Definitely it would. I mean, but the new surveillance cameras actually have very, very high quality footage now. I was just very lucky with the old ones. Mm-hmm. But where I would also progress this observational technique is into drones. So this is, again, this bird's eye perspective. And this is obviously new technology. So I don't avoid new technology. I try to work with it in the best way. But definitely my heart will always go to this retro stop motion visuals. But I'll see how I can in the future also combine both of that. I mean, I always prefer the original surveillance footage, but if that is not an option, then also my own 360 camera is perfect. So